40 for Rateable Crest Titans.
Welcome to Special Stage and welcome to the SeaconUK Rally Show, where we have a bumper edition lined up for you. No less than 3 rounds of the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, 2 rounds on the Isle of Man for the Manx Rally, and also the Jim Clark coming up in this show. We've also got the Plains Rally in the Welsh Rally Championship, and we're kicking off with action from the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Championship from the Scottish borders. It's the Border Counties Rally up first. The Border Counties Rally would be a rally of 2 halves, certainly in terms of the weather, with the morning giving us bright sunshine and blue skies, and the afternoon some of the heaviest, most biblical rain we have seen this season or possibly ever. The event was a new addition to the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Series last year, and a welcomed return in 2023 after a spectacular opening event would see some similar results as well. Elliot Payne and Tom Woodburn setting a string of fastest times throughout the rally to take victory, just as they had done a year ago. But it was a close fight, with last year's runners-up David Henderson and Chris Lees chasing them down once again. This time, the winning margin between these 2 Rally 2 Fiestas would be just 8 seconds after the day's 7 stages. Henderson's second place finish wasn't the way things had looked throughout the day though, with that position only coming to fruition on the final stage. Prior to that, it had looked as though Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere had things pretty much sewn up in that position. But they'd slipped down the order into 3rd in the final stage, missing out on 2nd by an excruciating 4 seconds. Aaron Newby and Jamie Edwards come into this round of the championship brimming with confidence, with some good points on the board already. And although they'd struggled with tyre choice over the morning stages, they do still manage to take 4th place away from this round, keeping them in the hunt in 2nd place in the championship standings, 4 points behind Payne after 3 rounds. Russ Thompson and Stephen Link continue what has been a fantastic season for them so far, putting in another stellar performance to take 5th place overall and, of course, take the B13 class victory, maintaining their position at the top of the class for the championship standings as well. Despite a no-show at the first round of the series, Robert Goff and Paul Morris have been making up for it at the following rounds. Maximum Silver Star points and a strong overall finish on the Rally Nut stages, and this weekend in the Scottish borders, they'd make it win number 2 in the category, taking 10th place overall as well. The next best 2-wheel drive crew by the finish of the rally would be Boyd Kershaw, the Flying Kiwi, Keegan Rees alongside. They were close on the times, and with 3 rounds under their belt, it does mean that their points tally is a little higher for now. Dropped scores later in the season, though, could change things around if Goff keeps up those winning ways with Paul alongside. Tony Simpson and Stefan Arndt would be the fastest of the R2 Cup cars to reach the finish in Jedburgh, and with a couple of minutes advantage in that position as well, showing some ominous pace over Liam Clark and Ben Wild in their Fiesta. In the Bronze Star, it would be the husband and wife team of Nigel and Kaz Jenkins taking the maximum points from round 3. A great finishing record in the season so far, of course, sees them leading the points tally in the championship. And as if the top of the category wasn't enough, a good result here for Luke Watts and Matt Rogers, by the way, that's Kaz's son, in the MG, actually sees Luke move to 2nd place in the championship points, just behind his mum. 2nd place on the Bronze Star leaderboard this weekend would be Chris and James Greenall in their Vauxhall Nova. They finished just ahead of Tom Constantine and Tony Walker, though the MG pair aren't registered for BTRDA points, so that doesn't affect the standings. The big Bronze Star news, though, from this weekend would come from the rapid micro pairing of Lewis Hooper and Rhys Edwards. Only this time it wasn't a rally first win or a good overall result bringing the headlines. It would be the pair crashing out in a rare retirement that saw them come to a very sudden stop in the afternoon stages. So after a mixed And pretty dramatic day always round here in the borders of Scotland. The results from round 3 of the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Series were in, and they looked like this.
Oh, I do like to be beside the seaside, especially when the sea is the Irish Sea and the seaside belongs to Douglas on the Isle of Man. This is the 2023 Manx Rally. It's round 2 and 3 of the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. The sun is shining, we're by the seaside, and we've got 17 special stages over 130-something miles of competitive action over the next 2 days. We'll see you out there on the stages. It's time now for us to get out for some rally action on the Manx Rally.
While the rally officially covers the full 2 days of competition, in terms of the Asphalt Championship, it will be 2 separate point-scoring rounds. And the close battle throughout the opening day showed just how much the crews wanted that result from the first of those rounds. But it would be David Wright and Paula Swinsko coming out on top at the end of the day, a slim margin of only 6 seconds deciding things on these Manx lanes. For Callum Black and Jack Morton, it would be a close second place. They'd been closing the gap throughout the day, but some mud in the wheels of the Fiesta on the final stage of the day would cause a nasty vibration, stopping them from getting any closer to our rally leaders. And third of the points-scoring crews from the opening round here on the Manx would be Hugh Hunter and Rob Fagg, a further 20 seconds back from Black ahead. But they themselves have a 28-second lead over Neil Roskell and Andrew Ruffhead, taking 4th place points in their ND Civils Rally 2 Fiesta. One crew not exactly chalking up the best of events so far will be local Evo driver Steve Ormond-Smith, Dafford Evans alongside. They retire, cracking the gearbox casing, which may or may not have been done when they turned to being stuntmen on the famous Sartfield hairpin. On to the second day and bright sunshine once again here in the Isle of Man, and to the results of the overall rally. And unfortunately for our day 1 leaders and maximum round 2 point scorers David Wright and Paula Swinsko, it would be retirement here on day 2. Having dropped back to second place despite a fantastic and entertaining fight on the stages, they were pushing to regain that lead until a small mistake on stage 14 would see them break the suspension on the Fiesta, having to park the car up at the side of the stage. Before that drama, the lead of the event had been overhauled by this man, Callum Black. Jack Morton alongside, they moved into the top spot on stage 12. And with the retirement of Wright, they keep hold of that place with a good, solid, comfortable margin through the final stages of the event, making the pair the 3rd winners in as many rounds here in the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. The drama wouldn't stop with Wright either. Yesterday's 3rd place crew of Hugh Hunter and Rob Fagg would have a challenging day, taking a puncture to start things off, having to stop and change it in the stage, dropping down the leaderboard as a result, and eventually being caught by John Stone and Laura Connell in the stage, who themselves would unfortunately have problems soon afterwards when they damaged the suspension on the Polo R5 after climbing up as high as an impressive 4th place. Hunter and Fagg's problems didn't stop with a puncture though, and they got a lot more dramatic as well. The Fiesta pair going into the final stage, having climbed back up to 6th, only to crash the car badly at the start of the stage, ending up upside down in the trees. A brief stay in hospital for Hugh would be needed, but the pair were okay overall, we're delighted to report. With all of this going on in the leaderboard, it was hard to keep track of who was where. But for those who kept mostly out of trouble, it would be a successful weekend. And for Neil Roskell and Andrew Ruffhead, it would be a fantastic 2nd place overall. A good score of 5th on day 1 as well would put the pair at the top of the championship standings after 3 rounds and heading to the Scottish borders for the Jim Clark. Rounding out the podium finishers would be last year's champion Steve Wood, Kenny Hull alongside. A trouble-free run for the Fiesta WRC pair would net them some much-needed points after their 1st round retirement. And 4th place at the finish would be our highest-placed local crew, Steve Colley and Kirsty Duke. The Evo pair had been pushing all weekend and entertaining the spectators along the way as well. Drive of the rally, though, for this year's Manx Rally had to go to this pair, Sam Adams and Michael Johnston. The escort pairing starting with a seeding of 57 and working their way up as high as 13th place on day 1, only to beat that again, believe it or not, on day 2, when they get to the end of the rally with 7th place overall. Just let that sink in. The fastest two-wheel drive crew, as you might imagine. A brief look at some of our classes here on an eventful and entertaining Manx Rally, and it would be the Class A victory for Mark and Andrew Constantine in that Corsa. They beat Scott Flynn and Lee McKinley in the Nova by a few minutes by the finish of the rally. For Max Murray and Matty Owen, it will be the Class B win. A much smaller advantage in this class, though. They end the event with only a 25-second lead over 2 days of rallying. And with Sam Adams in the lead of Class C, as we just saw, it will be down to Rory and Paul McCann to take 2nd place. They were just 27 seconds back from that class lead by the end of the rally. In Class D, it will be the Mark II escort of Damien Toner and Aidan Gallagher taking the top spot with around a minute and a half's advantage over Dave Willett and John Davies in their escort. And Class E would see our 4th place overall finishers Steve Colley and Kirsty Duke taking the class victory. And the Evo 10 pairing of Wayne Sisson and Perida Davies holding on to 2nd place around half a minute back. In the historic classes, it would be victory for Stephen Higgins and Corey Powell-Jones in the Mini for the Class H1 honours, while Graham Muter and Steve Hallmark take victory in H2 with their Escort RS 2000. And with a pretty significant advantage by the end of the rally, it would be H3 class honours, and indeed our highest placed historic crew overall for Will Rowlands and Emir Hall as they guide the escort, if we could put it like that, to 10th place overall. So with rounds 2 and 3 of the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship covered off here on the Isle of Man, the results at the top after 2 days of competitive rallying in these iconic lanes ended up looking like this.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, to be honest, and that's half the battle, isn't it? So we just sort of got a better feeling throughout the rally and learned what we could and couldn't do with the car, and it's an amazing car and real privileged drive, to be honest. Really enjoyable weekend. And
a bit of marathon as well. It sort of changed the dynamics of the fight when we lost David, of course, and Kevin, because these guys were in a fight of their own. All of a sudden they found themselves in a podium fight with you, but boy, by then you'd got your gap sorted, hadn't you?
Yeah, it's never that simple though, is it? Well, when I came up to David and saw he had an issue, it just fried my head for the next 2 miles. I didn't really know how to drive, but just sort of got our head down and found ourselves just into a reasonable pace, keep the concentration, and it proved to be enough. Enjoy
the celebrations here at the finish. I know it's your daughter's birthday as well, so because she'll watch this back no doubt in years to come, I'm sure you'll want to just mention that.
Yeah, little Tiggy Wee's birthday, real nice occasion to have the whole family here, to be honest, and celebrate in style.
From the closed roads of the Isle of Man to the forests of Wales now for the Plains Rally, but no less significant and iconic these stages. The action got well underway in Alwyn Forests, and it wouldn't be long before we had some drama. Second car on the road, in fact. John Day and Ian Harden rolling their Mini dramatically in the first stage. Crew okay, but the car was going no further. The results on the Plains will be split into the modern and historic crews. And in the modern interclub event, we'd see Tom Williams and Ross Whittock putting in the times to come out on top at the end of the rally with a 27-second lead. That advantage would be over this man, Matthew Hurst. Mark Glenister alongside, standing in for regular co-driver Declan Deere, who was away on honeymoon. There's a theme here. And with Williams up ahead, not registered for the Welsh Championship points, well, that does mean that Hurst takes a maximum from this round. This event also saw the return to the stages of Perry Gardner and Jack Bowen after pushing their way up the leaderboard last year and impressing so much in a debut season in that Fiesta R5. They returned midway through 2023 and back to where they left off, 3rd place and smack bang on the podium here on the Plains Rally. The historic rally would see a new name at the top of the leaderboard, and indeed a new car as well. Porsche expert Richard Tuthill with Dale Furness alongside, both these guys needing no introduction, guiding the 911 to the top spot with a victory of just 2 seconds though by the finish. And that hard-fought win would be over Marty McCormack and Barney Mitchell. Another pair back on the stages and clearly pushing hard in the Escort. But this weekend it just wasn't to be. Porsche Power would take it on the gravel. Rounding out the historic podium, meanwhile, would be Tom Walster and Andrew Roughhead. A good day for returning names and a great result for the pair, who finished just 28 seconds back from that fight for the lead up ahead. So with the dust quite literally settling on the Plains Rally, here's a quick reminder of the overall and historic leaderboards after a weekend on the gravel in Wales. Finally then, from the dust of Wales to the asphalt of the Scottish borders and the Jim Clark Rally. Amongst many other things, the 4th round of the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. A 2-day event, the Jim Clark features 2 runs through the Longford Makers stage on the Friday evening. One of those in the dark, and it would be BRC frontrunners and WRC2 regulars and the Works drivers Adrian Formo and Alexandra Correa leading the way, opening up a 28-second advantage in that M Sport Rally 2 Fiesta. That lead over former BRC champions Keith Cronin and Mikey Galvin. They were trying to keep up with our rally leaders, but seat time was at a premium on events like this, and they didn't manage to get off to quite as fast a start as the M Sport crew up ahead. 3rd place at the end of the opening day is showing just how quickly they'd got to grips with that new Fiesta, with James Williams and Di Roberts, the Fiesta pair, just 4.6 seconds back from Cronin by the end of stage 2. Although not taking part in any championships this weekend, Ewan Thorburn and Paul Beaton were here to see what they could do against the best of the best in that new Polo R5. And they were certainly getting the best out of the car from the start. 4th place for now, visually fast through the stages. As were indeed Elliot Payne and Tom Woodburn, a new Mango Go race suit for the pair to match that Mango Go livery. And it was suiting them well. Fastest of the Pro Tyre Championship crews at this stage and pushing that Fiesta, using as much of the road and a little bit of the bank as they could. Day 2 of the Jim Clark would feature 6 more grueling stages for our crews. And over the course of those stages, there'd be plenty of drama to play out, but not for our rally leaders, who managed to hold on to that lead and take victory by 29 seconds. Keith Cronin and Mikey Galvin had found their pace by the 2nd day, not letting the leaders extend that advantage or disappear into the distance. With more seat time, it could have been a pretty close fight for victory throughout the event this weekend, but 2nd place was not to be sniffed at on this entry. Some notable news from the stages early on today will be the loss of a few crews from our leaderboard. James Williams and Di Roberts not making it out of stage 5. And it would be a similar story for Elliot Payne and Tom Woodburn. They get the braking a little wrong in stage 5, ending up with the car nose down into the hedges and going no further. Day 2 would see no change for Ewan Thorburn and Paul Beaton. They were still pushing, they were still fast, and they were still enjoying the new car and being back out on these stages as well. This, their local event, a good run throughout the day, would secure them the final step on the podium. One of the heroic drives of the weekend, though, would come from James Ford and Neil Shanks. They were held up significantly on the opening stage, to the point where they were ready to throw the towel in and go home. Thankfully for them, they didn't. They set some fastest overall times of anybody in the event, helping them finish with 4th place overall and with top points in the Pro Tyre Asphalt Rally Championship from this round, making it 4 winners in the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship in as many rounds. For David Henderson and Chris Lees, it will be a strong 5th place finish. They have a good run, but they do get to the finish of the event with some work to do on the car ahead of the Reivers Rally that they were competing on the very next day. Neil Roskell and Andrew Ruff had arrived here as championship leaders in the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, and they'd enjoyed their weekend. It hadn't been without its dramas though, clearly pushing in places and a little too much in some. But they do get to the end of the rally, which is more than can be said for some of their competitors, meaning they're 6th place overall and crucially 3rd place in the Pro Tyre Championship points behind Henderson. There was plenty of action outside the top 10 leaderboard as well, and it would be Darren Atkinson and Mark Twynham taking the highest placed two-wheel drive honours this weekend. Overall, and in the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship standings. Close behind them would be two-wheel drive driven from the other end for Kyle White and Sean Topping. They take the Junior BRC win as well with that result. And fastest of the historic cruise by the finish of this two-day rally would be Will Rowlands and Emir Hall. They improve on their seeding from 64th to 27th place on the results. Another crew who were certainly pushing throughout the weekend and deserve a bit of airtime here were Archie Swinscoe and Jane Nichol. They were the only ones in the R2 class by the finish, but it was an impressive 29th position on the overall leaderboard for the pair this weekend. So with the sun setting on the Scottish border lanes and the Jim Clark Rally complete, here's a reminder of those overall results at the finish back in Duns Square.
Adrian, congratulations. First BRC on the Jim Clark Rally here. How did it feel for you?
Well, really good. Actually, we were really enjoying on the rally. It was really nice. A lot of spectators also, so it was really nice atmosphere here. We're enjoying the rally. The car been perfect for us. Big push yesterday, and we're managing a bit more today, but still really slippery stages today.
Fastest of all of the crews. You were going home last night, having caught a car in the stage,
Yeah.
and today you just wanted to prove that you didn't want to be behind anybody, did you?
I might have thrown my dummy out the pram a little bit last night, yeah.
Is it back in?
Yeah, it is a little bit, yeah. But yeah, it's just, anyway, we're not going to talk about it, but yeah, it wasn't a very good evening for us. But yeah, today was been a lot better. So I think we were fastest overall of everybody today, even the BRC. So yeah, it was good. So
Yeah, well, the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship is what you guys do. You're asphalt specialists, so we'd expect you to be quickest of anybody, wouldn't we?
yeah, we've been trying. Yeah, we've done a lot of stuff in Ireland this year, which has helped the pace a lot. So it's been good this year. Yeah. So today's been very good. Yeah.
Was there a bit of red mist this morning? Because you really were just chucking it down that lane in Edgeham to begin the day.
Might have been a little bit. Yeah.
Well, we've had all 4 seasons in 1 month of rallying, haven't we, here in the SeaconUK Rally Show on special stage. And we've had so much rally action on asphalt, on gravel. And you know what? It's been a month where so much has happened, and not once could you have called the result at the end. And that is what's great about these championships that we're covering in this show. We hope you've enjoyed the show this month as much as we have. We'll be back live with you on the BTRDA, on the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship and other events. Besides, in the coming weeks, we'll see you on special stage very soon. Thank you for watching.
Care 40 for Rateable Crest Titans.